You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. It is Monday, July the 29th, 2024. I cannot believe where summer has already gone and how little of it we have left. Time is just flying by. I know people don't want to acknowledge that in Northern Ontario or in Sudbury in particular, but it is what it is. We are just going through our summer like the days are just going by way too quickly. So, but we're here and we're happy that you're here. Thankful to be with you. And we got a great show planned for you today. Sorry that we weren't with you on Thursday and Friday. We headed over to Montreal for 2 days, and it was very impossible for us to do the show from Montreal with the circumstances that we were in. We wouldn't have had, I didn't even have internet in my hotel, so that would have been impossible. You need a strong internet for this show, for the production to work the way that it's set up, and definitely no internet would have made sure that it, didn't get on the air. And so we weren't with you on Thursday and Friday, and I didn't even put up anything on Facebook to tell everybody that we wouldn't be on. And so I was thinking, but I did mention it on the show. So anyone who is watching the last show, I did mention that we wouldn't be on Thursday and Friday. So, but it was a great trip. Montreal is first time. It was the first time I was in Montreal. I really enjoyed it. I thought Montreal is an interesting city, being in there for the first time. Obviously, it's an iconic Canadian city, and so I was looking forward to being there, and it was a really great experience. I was only there for 2 days, really quickly there and back, and my first time through Ottawa as well. I've never been to Ottawa before. Ottawa was bigger than I thought it would be, and there were some traffic issues there, so it made it seem even bigger. And then Montreal was a little smaller than I had pictured it being, although it is a huge city. Again, second largest city in Canada, right? So, but yeah, other than those two small observations, I was trying to make sure that I was safely driving while also kind of looking around and taking in the little bit that I was in both of those cities this weekend, or the latter part of last week. So both beautiful, by the way, both beautiful cities. And Ottawa, up over 1 million people now, and it is quite large. It's not really known, like we know the skylines of different cities like Vancouver, Toronto, with its CN Tower. Montreal skyline's pretty iconic as well, with Mount Royal behind the downtown. And, but you don't really see too much of Ottawa in the media because it's probably for security reasons, I guess. So I wasn't, I didn't know what to expect. But I'm hoping to go back and actually go in and do things there, which would really, be quite wonderful. But anyways, I hope that everyone's having a great morning today. It's Monday, beginning to your work week, if you are indeed working. And if not, that's great, because it means you don't have to. We are live on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download it and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channel and the page. And then on demand as well. We're on afterwards on those two platforms, along with X, twitter.com/Sudbury News, now X, and our news aggregator website, Sudbury.news, where you can catch all the latest news aggregated into one convenient web page, which makes it convenient for everyone in a day and age when it's not so easy to find news. You're going to have to go searching for it all over the place instead of it just coming to you as it used to on Facebook, now that the federal government's policies make that impossible to do. We had to find new ways of getting the news, and Sudbury.news is a way to do that. So we'll have local news this morning from CBC, CTV Northern Ontario News, and Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, that are all aggregated onto our website. We'll go through the top news headlines. It's not the, in terms of local news, there's nothing there it's like earth shattering or anything. There's a few things to point out going on in local news. However, the international news is really heating up these days, and with the another attack on Israel, that's really going to set things it's just going to accelerate things from what's already happening over there. It's not good, and put it that way. So there was a bomb that went off, a missile that was launched into Israel that I believe had killed 12 children. And to me, though, there's it's interesting, put it that way. The timing of it, the type of attack it was, who were the victims. It doesn't smell good. Like there's just a lot going on. And when there's conflicts that, there's certain sides that want to start conflicts or accelerate conflicts, you have to be leery about things like this and really understand that it's not always exactly what it looks like on the surface, right? So you kind of have to dig and see. But that's what you guys do. You guys look into things. You don't take things for face value. You're able to think for yourselves. And we do have the resources today. There was a commercial that was just on for a website to go to that will help you, give you the tools to know what fake news is. Now, I don't necessarily think that particular website or the tools that they're giving or whatever are legit to really sniff out what is really fake news. But you can do that as you just exercise your mind and your intuition and really want to know what's really going on out there. The internet provides many ways of knowing that these days, and not just taking something at face value. It's something you need to be questioning. If you indeed want to know, you can. So that's a great thing about today, in today's world. So we're going to have a great show today, and it's because you're going to make it a great show, as this is your conversation on your station. So make sure to comment, YouTube and Facebook, comments on live, and then the conversation will continue on Facebook after the show, because you can continue the conversation there. And we'll dive right in with a little bit of weather, and then we'll go through some comments, news headlines, and more after the weather. Let's dive right in. Stay with us. And Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check, serving Greater Sudbury and Muskoka areas from Huntsville all the way to Parry Sound. Currently it is 17 degrees. It's partly cloudy. And today we can expect sunny and becoming mix of sun and cloud early this morning. High of 28, humidex 34. The UV index will be 8 or very high. So the humidex 34, it's very hot today, ladies and gents. Tonight, partly cloudy, becoming cloudy late this evening, low of 18. Tuesday, cloudy, 70% of showers. Chance of showers in the afternoon, risk of thunderstorm, high of 26. UV index will be 35 tomorrow, so even hotter, even more humid. UV index will be 6 or very high. Tuesday, like we said, 26 chance of showers, 70% chance of showers. With the humidex, it'll feel like 35, so almost 10 degrees warmer it will feel like with the humidex tomorrow, and much the same today. Very humid. Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, 29 degrees, very hot again. Same thing, 29 mix of sun and cloud for for all three, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You rarely see that from our weather. But it is what it is. And Saturday, 40% chance of showers, high of 28. And then Sunday, cooling off a little bit, mix of sun and cloud, high of 25. So very warm regardless this whole week. A look at your satellite. This was taken at about 4:30 a.m., so about 3 hours ago. A lot of clearing with the clouds moving in from the west, as you can see there. And if you can't see it and you're listening, it's pretty clear over Sudbury, but the clouds are rolling in from the west. And that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Duck Check for all your duck cleaning and inspection needs. They're certified, they're trusted. You give them a call at 705-918-4848 or visit them at duckcheck.com, D-U-C-T check.com. Let them know we sent you, and you get $100 off your next duck cleaning and inspection. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, yeah, quite a few people joining us this morning. I paused that video that I tried to get going, but it just wanted to play anyways. It had a mind of its own. Technology often does. Okay, so let's see here. We had a small little group on this morning, a healthy small little group, but we have a couple people joining us from YouTube. It's Nana. Blessings, everyone. Hope you're all having a great day. Same to you, Nana and Kevin. Good morning, all. Good morning to you as well. Missed you guys the last couple days. Judy, good morning. First to the Facebook party. Hope you're having a good morning. And Dan, first time that I'm seeing you on. Welcome. Thanks for being with us. And Brian, good morning, Freedom Fighters. And Miles, good morning to you as well. Hope you're having a great morning. Belinda, good morning to you. And a positive statement of the day. One of the greatest problems of our time is that many are schooled, but you are educated. You were educated. Let me go back again. One of the greatest problems of our time is that many are schooled, but I would say few were educated, but it says you were educated. Okay. We are now living in a time where we are going to be educated on a global level. Yes, culture is often shaped by the powers that be, the media, right? The media is the message, the medium. The media is the medium. The medium is the message. Hey, I finally got it right. There you go. The medium is the message. The media shapes our society. And you can see, that's why you look at a video from the 1920s, let's say, and a bustling street with the streetcar going by and whatever. Everyone seems to be dressed the same. Like it's interesting, right? There's all kinds of things people could wear, but everyone's dressed the same. And if you see the 1930s or the 40s or the 50s, in a certain area, everyone's kind of the same. And there's a reason for that. Society is shaped where, the kinds of music we listen to, the kinds of things we wear, the way that our hair is done, hairstyles. You look through different times and we have different hairstyles. Well, how is that shaped? Like, why don't people just always look the same, or just do whatever they want? It's shaped by the media. And we definitely are on a global scale now being shaped a certain way. And there's a culture that's being formed, a global culture, not just different cultures, in different areas of the world. It used to be that different areas had their own media, had their own leaders, had their own aristocracies, their own kind of people in power making decisions to shape the cultures. And that's why we had different cultures at different areas of the world. Some natural, but some shaped, some kind of forced, or some led in a certain direction. But nowadays, we're heading into a global society, global culture. We have global norms, standards, things that are accepted to be right and accepted to be wrong. And if you kind of go against the grain, you can kind of feel that, that it's being pushed in a certain direction. Like, let's say you said, I don't really think climate change is a danger. Well, you're going to get a lot of pushback on that. Why is that? Because in the media, that's the consensus. And that's what's being kind of put out there on a daily basis. And you can tell people are influenced by that, by the talking around the water cooler at work, right? It's not thinking for yourself, it's being told what to think. And then you'll get the odd person that says, you know what, yeah, I don't really buy into all that. And it's just like other people don't know what to say to that because they don't have any substance to back it up. They'll just repeat what they've heard on the media and things like that. So yeah, we're definitely always been shaped, but we're being shaped globally now. There's a global movement to shape what we think, how we act. Thank you very much for that, Belinda. And yes, I also am glad I had a nice little holiday and recharged the battery, although you've heard the term you now need a holiday from your holiday to recoup from the holiday. That's kind of like what it was. We had a few people in our van, went over with some friends. And so, it's a long drive, 8 hours there, 8 hours back. Pretty much if you just do quick stops. And yeah, so it wasn't just relaxing. It was pretty go. Thoughts on the Olympic ceremonies? Once you see it, you can't unsee it or can't not see it for sure. Yes, that was a statement and a half, the opening ceremonies of the Paris Olympics. Yeah, apparently they had a power outage too, and they had some glitches going on left over from that cyber glitch, that the security software update that affected everybody in the world who was using Microsoft. To me, and I'll just sum it up, I see a lot of comparisons from the Chinese opening ceremonies to the Paris one, and it does show a lot of difference actually. It seemed like the Chinese culture, was showing off a lot of their best, the best side of their history and their culture in their opening exercises, right? And it almost seemed like Paris was showing a different side, almost like a side of giving the finger to tradition and culture and things like that, and saying this is a new tradition and a new culture. It was somewhat blasphemous. It was actually very blasphemous if you look at it in a spiritual way. It was whoever was behind that, the opening ceremonies, what it was about, the theme, putting it all together, those types of things. Whoever was behind that knew what they were doing. They were giving the finger to, traditional and possibly Christian society, Christianity in general, and just showing that this is this is what we feel, could be a reflection of the society we want, kind of thing, in a very progressive way. And a lot of mocking and blasphemy going on. So that's just a reflection of our society in general, and maybe more, I guess, French society, where the arts community or whoever was in charge of that opening ceremony, where they're at spiritually or intellectually. And yeah, we see a lot of that in our world, a big push. The Grammys, was it the Grammys a couple of years ago? With their kind of demonic rituals on stage, same idea, right? Dressing up like Satan, you can't get any more blatant than that. And then an androgynous Satan sexualizing the whole whatever performance, if you want to call it that. they're making statements of something. It's up to you to decide what those statements are. It's definitely a statement. What are the opening ceremonies for of an Olympics, right? It's kind of to show things off. You want to show off your culture. You want to kind of be proud of things that the country that's hosting it are proud of. And it's on a world stage. So what is France proud of, I guess? What are they taking pride in? Pride itself, I guess. And yeah, it's interesting stuff. I'm yeah, you know what? I've only seen bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch it. I rarely do sit through an opening ceremonies of an Olympics. I just, it's not my cup of tea, really. Although then I will see segments of it afterwards. It was something the Super Bowl a couple of years ago or last year. They're getting really spiritual, these halftime shows, opening ceremonies, performances at the Grammys, anything that's on a worldwide stage or has a large audience. They're utilizing these opportunities to make spiritual statements to the world of where they're at spiritually. And for those who have eyes to see, will see. And that's what's going on. These are the movers and shakers of our world. This is what their beliefs are. This is what they want to push on humanity for some reason. Some might call it the frog in the pot kind of thing. It's always been like that, but it's just getting worse. Back in the day, they couldn't show Elvis from the hips down. Even rock music was touted by a lot of spiritual leaders at that time as the devil's music. Did they see the beginnings of what we would end up here now? Did they feel that particular vibe at the time? Who knows? It's interesting. Good morning, Monique. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for the statements of the day, Belinda, the insight that you had as well. So good rising to Monique. Smiley emoji, heart emoji. Pat, good morning, people. Good morning to you, Pat. Disgusting opening ceremonies. That's what Monique is saying. And again, I didn't watch the whole thing. If I did, I might be talking about my disgust and stuff as well. But I just know from what the small little things I've seen, it was meant to provoke, I think, push buttons type of idea. Miles is saying all media dumping on Israel where the truth isn't out there. Islamic militants and Iran want to eliminate Israel. It's that simple. Yes, you are right. Death to Israel, I think, one of the things they chant openly. It's not a secret, right? Whenever one culture wants to annihilate another one, that should raise red flags right there, first and foremost. So here is a petition, it looks like, from Trevor. It says the openaccord.org. So I would encourage everyone, anything that Trevor's ever sent or links that he's shared have a lot of information in there. It's pretty valuable. So I would encourage everyone to go over and check that out. And I will myself after the show. It's theopenaccord.org. Belinda also saying, mocking the portrayal of the Last Supper with the alphabet community. Yes, for sure. It's again, right? It's provoking, poking the bear, and that's always been my thing, is that here's a community that says that they're about love, openness, inclusion, but yet and then they say anyone who doesn't want to drink the Kool-Aid of that particular movement, which it is a movement, and a lot of people who are gay, lesbian, don't go along with that movement at all. They know that it's been hijacked for political purposes, the whole movement. They don't go along with it. They don't like it. That's not the way they roll. They actually just want to be left alone and live their lives and live a normal life. But it's kind of like they come right out and have, it's almost like picking fights with everybody or something. while calling people who don't want to go along with it hateful. Yet I see a lot of hatefulness in their kind of public displays. Like, and that's one example of it. Like, what are you doing there? Like, why are you mocking something? Like, mocking something, isn't that a sign of hating something or a show of hate? If you mock somebody, like, what is that? Is that loving? Is that inclusiveness? Is that what you're saying out of one side of your mouth and then the other side does something totally different? You know, that's an issue I have as an outsider looking at your movement. That's what I am. I'm being asked to come in and go along with everything that you're saying and don't think for myself, which isn't right in the first place either. If you present a message that's something that resonates with me and I'll naturally go along with it, well, that sure, but I shouldn't be forced to go along with your message, or then I'm mocked or, called a hater or anything like that when I'm not. Just because you don't go along with something doesn't mean you hate it. I don't eat Cheerios. I don't hate them. I don't like Cheerios, but I don't hate them. I don't eat them. So would you presume I hate Cheerios because I don't eat them? I don't like the ingredients. I don't think it's healthy. I don't like the way it's manufactured. It's processed. Don't particularly like the taste. But imagine if you're being forced to go along with it and you have to eat Cheerios, or you're a hater. You hate them. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So again, this whole movement, everything I see publicly about it is just, it's a very hypocritical movement, if you ask me. Very hypocritical. And it's not about love and inclusion and acceptance and all that stuff. It's very exclusive, and it's hateful in and of itself. It was showing hate in the opening ceremonies. Let's say it was showing hate to another group by mocking them. Right? So that's why, I don't know. If you've drank the Kool-Aid and you think it's all what it's wrapped up to be, ask yourself those things. Like, why do you need to go out and do that to another group? Why can't you include them? You're all about, other people aren't including us. Well, you're not including other people as well. You're exclusive. It's political. It's a political movement for gain for certain people out there that have agendas. It's a unionized type of thing. It's now unions are, you can tell why they're so entwined with unions. They have flags in front of every prominent government building or hospital or anything, schools, all of our institutions of any kind of authority. They have a flag and it's up there. It shows you're in authority now. You reached the pinnacle and you're basically the theme of the opening ceremonies of the Olympics on the world stage. So what are you going to do with that authority? What are you going to do with that platform, the message? What message are you putting out when you have the microphone? The cameras are on you. So what do you do when that happens? What are you saying? What's your message? To mock Christianity? Is that what your purpose is? Is that really what's at the heart of the movement? What does that do for your movement? What does that do? Like, how does that help? So, or are the people that are behind it, the people that control the movement, which people do control the movement, by the way. It's not grassroots. It's top down. Or do they have an agenda and you're being used in that agenda? Right? So again, it's just an opportunity to think for yourself and ask questions. Isn't that a freeing feeling? We talk about freedom a lot, right? You want to be free. Well, be free to think. Think freely. There's nothing more freeing than in your own mind, and it's not controlled by somebody else. Miles says one part of the Paris Olympics ceremony, they pulled off the internet because it was very, very inappropriate. Well, they pulled it off the internet even. Wow. Well, I wonder who DVR'd it and who could actually at least keep it so that it's a reference. You don't want to just wipe it out and say it doesn't exist, like they wanted to do with when they invited the Nazi to the parliament or whatever. They wanted to strike that off the records that it didn't even exist. Like, you can't do that when you go out and do something wrong and then just wipe it off the map. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, he will also reap. And that's Belinda. And you're right. That's the last thing you'll ever do is mock God, for sure. That's your last stage. Pride cometh before the fall, I think is the saying. Miles, it was the blue guy. Last Supper parody was very disgusting. It's been pulled from the internet, so it was that. I see pictures of that, right? The blue guy. Again, and I never watched it, but I just see different small clips or memes or whatever, and the comparison to the Last Supper. Wonder what they were going for there. You know what I mean? Because have any of the organizers of that been questioned? I'd like to know that. What were their comments? Why they did what they did? Maybe we'll have to look into that. And it's a huge distraction, is what Monique is saying as well, that is what it is. If you look at what's going on the world stage in terms of, on the brink of war, many countries on the brink of war, a lot of things that are being shifted around in terms of power. Huge economic things going on in the world. The petrodollar is on the way down. A lot of countries refusing to use the United States dollar as their currency for trade. Just that in and of itself, the rise of the BRICS nations is a huge thing. The power is shifting in the world to another side. Now, you could say all kinds of things to the side that was in power and the things they did wrong, the things they did good, but nonetheless, it's shifting. So that's going to be a huge change in the world, regardless. It's going to affect each and every one of us on a large scale. A lot of things going on, like I said, just so many different conflicts. You take Taiwan and China, Ukraine, Russia, North and South Korea. You've had Russian ships just with Canadian ones, by the way. I don't understand how that happened, but anyways, Canadian and Russian ships just off the coast of the United States, around Cuba. You've had some planes intercepted off the coast of the United States in Alaska. So there's a lot of war things. Oh, Israel, like I didn't even mention that. Israel, Palestine, Iran. Things are heating up everywhere. Things are hitting the fan. And these are distractions, as we're just talking about, these frivolous type of things. And lots going on. It's a shift going on in the world for sure. In the United States, isn't that like a circus? What's going on with their election? That's, again, very much a distraction, you would think, right? Because it's just like bizarre. I've never seen anything like that going on in the United States. What's happening with the president in the next election, an assassination attempt, and then Kamala Harris taking over for Joe Biden, and it's not even going through the democratic process. Now Obama has, and Michelle or Michael, whatever you want to call him or her, behind the, scenes, endorsing Kamala. And they know that's not the process. You can't just pick someone else to take over for you. They have to be picked by the party. So that, again, this is kind of an illegal thing going on down there. And the media is just trying to make it seem like it's normal, and it's not. There's some real weird things going on that are distractions everywhere that are taking up all of our media and time. Belinda says, evil being exposed on a huge platform. All eyes on France for this disgusting display. Choose your side wisely. Yeah, I guess another thing too, the devil these days is put out there as being cool to some extent. All the celebrities are doing it. They're all Satanists, so why can't we be? And we didn't even talk about the fire in Jasper, which we want to get to in a little bit here. That's craziness going on there. Similar to what we've seen in other strategic locations throughout the world, right? Usually they're like countries, spots where, tourist attractions and things like that. Just these beautiful areas that, in different countries where they, like Jasper, whoever's been to Jasper knows how beautiful, it's iconic. It's whatever, and then Lahaina and Hawaii. There's other places around the world too that are very targeted in a way. Like they're very special places to each of these countries, and they've just almost overnight just burned down very quickly. And they've all had components to them that are questionable as to how it happened and how it happened so fast and why there weren't things done to prevent it. In each of the cases, there's a lot of similarities there. So let's dive into that a little bit later. First, let's just check in on some of our news headlines. Sudbury.news. Again, it's there's nothing earth-shattering in terms of local news, but we'll still go through the headlines because there are headlines. Government chatbots a possibility under Ottawa's new AI strategy. Looking forward to that. What could possibly go wrong, right? Ottawa working on a strategy to use more artificial intelligence in the federal public services. It's going to go bad to worse, possibly, our services that we're getting. What could possibly go wrong with technology running the government? Like I said, it's going to go from bad to worse. And that was from Sudbury.com. Greater Sudbury working to make improvements to Junction Creek. This is from CBC. The city of Greater Sudbury is working to revamp a major waterway that runs through the northern Ontario city. So for more on that, visit CBC. Just click on the story on Sudbury.news. It'll take you right to it. What they're planning to do to Junction Creek. Police are continuing to stress the importance of water safety. A National Drowning Prevention Week. As National Drowning Prevention Week ends, provincial police are hoping that boaters and water enthusiasts are keeping some water safety messages in mind. Yes, if you're out on the water, be careful. And there's a lot of water around here and a lot of places to go to enjoy the water. Just be safe while you're out there. CTV News seems like they're coming out with news on Monday morning very early to start off the work week. So that's a new thing that they've just started. So they're going to go through what to look for in the news ahead this week, published at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So this is a new thing as far as I can see that they're doing. A woman fighting to restore hospital beds in North Shore community after they were temporarily closed. This is CBC again. Time and distance take their own toll, even on the healthy, when trying to access healthcare in remote and rural communities, along with the North Shore of Lake Huron, say a group of women advocating for more services when where they live. Angie Gollop, herself undergoing chemotherapy at the time, talked with the CBC about this. Again, we have universal healthcare in Canada. To what I've seen from it, it's never been good. People say, oh yeah, it's great. Everyone has healthcare, but no. It's gotten worse over the last few years. It's getting continually worse as we have massive immigration coming into Canada, and our healthcare system was already overloaded and wasn't functioning properly. It's just showing how inefficient it was in the first place when it's under stress and there's not enough beds, there's not enough doctors or nurses. People can't get doctors. And yeah, it's just a crapshoot. And now you have Kamala Harris saying that's what she wants for the United States. Well, all they have to do is look up here. And I might just launch my podcast, which was just specifically about healthcare in Canada, speaking to the United States as an audience, saying, you don't want this there. As bad as a lot of people want to make the United States healthcare system out to be, the fact that you got to get your own insurance, kind of like you get insurance for your cars, it's the same thing. You have car insurance, you get health insurance. We don't have universal car insurance here. We got to get your own car insurance. It's the same thing. You get your own healthcare down there. And if you can't afford it, there's ways that you can utilize healthcare if you can't afford it. They have ways for that down there. It's just way better. Doctors compete against each other for your business because they only make money if you come in and see them. There's more than enough doctors most places, and they're competent, and they have to have good service, or else you will choose to go to someone else. And then they lose your business, they lose money. What greater motivation is there than the almighty dollar, right? It just works. A lot of people want to put down capitalism, that it's the devil. Well, there's some aspects of capitalism, and I would say crony capitalism. The idea of government working together with business to make heavy regulations, to make it impossible for any competitors to come in. That is crony capitalism. That's not the free market capitalism, where just the dollar itself is a motivator for anybody and make the playing field open for all people. So that way everyone has equal opportunity, which makes a very healthy economy wherever it's allowed to be that way. There was a road closure between like Coppercliff and Lively due to a gas leak or something. And I was coming to work last night and it was closed. So I had to take another route. But it's open now. I don't know how long it was closed for, but it was definitely closed last evening. There's also a festival of India that draws hundreds to Bell Park, the city's large Indian community. Turns out to celebrate with food, vendors, and cultural presentations. That's from Sudbury.com. Man pulls out a knife, threatens to stab a security guard. He tells the judge that addiction was behind his long criminal record. Who would have known that? Who could have figured that? And then also, it's been 25 years since a Sudbury police officer was killed in the line of duty. And that is on the Sudbury Star's website. So check out those stories and more if you visit Sudbury News, Sudbury.news, that is. We have all of the stories aggregated into one convenient location. And now Monique is saying we know the fire in Jasper and what it's all about. The primary process in the United States can be confusing, but the final vote for their leaders conclude in their conventions. Apparently, there were over 100 candidates for president in their November 5th elections. They only need 300 endorsements to be put on the ballot. Well, there you go. I guess they're trying to ramp up and get as many of those ahead of time and make her look like the person before anyone else can get in there, right? Before the convention. Sad when doctors readily prescribe pills before you ask. They ask about your lifestyle and diet, exercise, and stress levels. For sure, yes. Doctors will push pills before anything. I remember getting headaches back in the day, all the time. Headaches. And the doctor basically just said, here, take one of these. It wasn't even like Advil or Tylenol or nothing. It was this new prescription for headaches. And then a friend of mine said, how much water do you drink? And I said, 0 water. He goes, oh, you're dehydrated. Just drink water. I did. My headaches went away. It was that simple. You'd think a doctor would at least entertain that thought first, right? But no. And what about these fires going on? What about the Jasper fire? So here you have Press for Truth. In there, kind of looking into it. This particular news organization, independent news organization, did a documentary on what, from what happened in northern Alberta a few years ago, and was saying that we can expect more if we don't do anything about this. So there's some questionable things here, and I think just they're able to shed some light on it. So we'll check in with them. We'll be back.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth on the absolutely devastating news that the beautiful town of Jasper, Alberta has essentially just burned to the ground. Parks Canada knew this was a ticking time bomb after multiple experts warned them about this, and they chose to do nothing. Over 50% of the town's structures are now completely gone, and nothing but ashes remain in their place, as can be seen and confirmed by these videos.
And for those listening online or on the radio, you've seen the video, I'm sure. They're just horrific, just massive fires everywhere. They're just showing that in the video at the moment. Devastation. Cars burnt out, homes gone, nothing left. It looks like World War III, basically. Nuclear nightmare. Everything's burned. No homes left.
Okay, this line's up with the gas. We may need one or two, so once I know, I'll let you know. Good, sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Yes, just like Lahaina.
The devastation there is horrific, but none of this should come as a surprise. I warned Canadians in my 2016 documentary film on the Fort McMurray fires about what was going on and what could be expected in the future. And in 2017, a Conservative member of Parliament warned everybody about what was coming, and nobody listened.
Mr. Speaker, Jasper National Park, one of Canada's major tourist destinations, has been devastated by the pine beetle infestation. Much of the forest is dead or dying. The dead trees are a tremendous fuel load and present a significant risk to the community of Jasper. Residents are concerned for their own safety and that of the visitors and the security of their homes. With a high risk of wildfires fueled by a forest devastated by the pine beetle, have the Liberals put a plan in place to protect this park?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our government is absolutely committed to the ecological integrity of our national parks. That is my first priority as the minister. We are working very hard in all of our parks, including Jasper National Park. I look forward to talking to the member further about this and seeing how we can move forward. Thank you.
As it turns out, they didn't move forward on anything. And in 2018, Parks Canada was warned again. And they responded by saying this: "We're quite comfortable with where we are with our own emergency planning." This is an article from April of 2018. Jasper National Park not prepared for potential forest fire catastrophe, researchers say. 2 BC researchers say Jasper National Park is due for a catastrophic forest fire, and they're worried officials aren't doing enough preparation and prevention for it. Emily Begin and Ken Hodges said a major forest fire in the area is an inevitability. It's a matter of when, not if, Begin told CBC's Radioactive. They've both been foresters for 40 years and have been studying Jasper National Park. They found multiple issues with the forest that make it susceptible to fire. You have a fire suppression that has occurred for many years, therefore you get a lot of dead fuel that would have been consumed by a natural process, Hodges said. The mountain pine beetle adds even more fuel to the situation, Hodges said. With those factors, all it would take is what he calls a 30-30-30 day. 30% humidity, 30 degrees, and 30-kilometer winds. to put the forest and the adjacent town site at risk. And after getting this warning from the experts, here's what Parks Canada had to say. Jasper is located in a forested environment and wildfires are always a concern to us. We're quite comfortable with where we are with our own emergency planning and evacuation planning. So in other words, thanks for the tip, but we got this. Now here's where things get even crazier. Some people knew what was coming, and so they wanted to take the appropriate steps all by themselves, but they were blocked by bureaucratic red tape. Because did you know that Parks Canada requires a permit for the removal of any tree that may catch fire? To apply for a Parks Canada tree removal permit, you will need to fill out a Parks Canada tree removal application, which includes a completed application where you are required to list the tree species and the exact number of trees, the purpose of the removal, if considered hazardous, a written danger tree assessment from a certified danger tree assessor with proof of their certification is also required. You'll need photos of every single one of the trees. You're going to need the dimension site plan illustrating the location of the trees, structures, and lot lines on the leasehold. And you'll need to flag every single tree of concern with flagging tape. Here's what the application looks like. This is page 1. And this is page 2 with all the required supporting documents. The sheer amount of paperwork alone here has already hindered a lot of people from doing what they needed to do. And on top of all of this, you've got environmentalists within the government who refused to do anything because they didn't want to alter the pristine environment. Liberals were warned in 2017 Jasper was a tinderbox, but government greenies refused to act. According to newly unearthed documents, the Liberal government was warned as early as 2017 that Jasper was a tinderbox waiting to explode. But climate activists within the government refused to alter the pristine environment. Guys, I can't help but notice all of the similarities to what happened in Alberta in 2016 during the Fort McMurray fire. And back then, I put out a documentary-styled video to explain what was happening and to serve as a warning for the future. So I'd like to end today's video with this short 5-minute documentary film that I made over 8 years ago now that will show you how everything we're seeing in Jasper right now has been seen before, and it could have been prevented.
Now I'd encourage everyone to go to pressfortruth.ca and you can watch that particular documentary. Unfortunately, we won't have the time on today's show to be able to do that. It would put us over time, but this just came in from True North News. Parks Canada new former Jasper official speaks out about the federal mismanagement in the aftermath of wildfire. A former senior planner of Jasper National Park is blaming unresponsive and politicized Parks Canada leadership for last week's devastating Jasper wildfire. Peter Schultz, who was hired by Parks Canada in 2008, says the federal agency's fire prevention staff were so confident in their abilities to control and battle wildfires that they intentionally allowed dead wood to collect inside the Jasper National Park, as we saw just moments ago. According to Schultz, the Parks Canada wildfire chief at the time told him in January 2008 in a meeting, "We have become so good at controlling and stopping fires that we just build up dead wood supplies. I did my best to support what I had been told when I was developing land use policy for Jasper National Park," Schultz said. This included attempts to clear out the dead wood and conduct prescribed burns. But I found that the manager of the land use planning was unresponsive to those concerns, and the superintendent himself was unresponsive, Schultz said. Schultz said this turned the park into a powder keg. There was numerous amounts of dead fall, some dead trees, but mainly branches that had fallen off. This becomes very dry timber, and it's well aerated because of all of the buildup gradually over the years, and it's not compressed in any way, he said. You could light a match and it's going to practically explode. I knew that because I participated in some of those transects. I saw it for myself. According to Parks Canada, only 8 prescribed burns were conducted in 2023 in only 6 national parks. In 2015, Parks Canada set its own record for prescribed burns, including 28. Parks Canada did not respond to True North's request for comment when asked how many prescribed fires or prescribed burns were conducted in Jasper National Park between 2008 and 2024, and if there was a policy in place to allow dead wood to build up at the bottom of the park. He estimated that by last summer, close to 40% of Jasper National Park trees were standing deadwood, killed by pine beetle infestation, creating the perfect scenario for a massive wildfire. Anyways, so you can see there's some incompetence or some things going on. Either it's incompetent or it's on purpose, right? Incompetence or on purpose. There's nothing in between. And there we have it. So we'll have more on that. And Belinda says anything to implement 15-minute cities. And again, right? Is that what we've seen come in the place of so many other cities that have burned and they need to be rebuilt quickly, right? How are they being rebuilt? Who's rebuilding them? And are they indeed, smart cities, 15-minute cities when they're rebuilt? We'll just have to see if that happens with Jasper. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks everyone for being with us. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, on the same platforms, on the same station. And that is CKLU 96.7 FM. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. I hope everyone has a wonderful beginning to their work week, a wonderful Monday. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. All right, guys, have a great one. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.